Game Theory, Yoshi's Identity Crisis. What is a Yoshi? Let's watch it.
Still no new releases? They all got pushed back? Well, without anything new to talk about, I need an idea for a theory, and you know what that means. The triumphant return of the Wheel of Gaming! Wheel of Gaming, spin, spin, spin. Give me a game that's a total win. Very funny, Wheel. Let's try this again. Wheel of Gaming, that wasn't right. Give me a topic that's super tight. That's gonna be a yikes from me here, Chief. Let's do it one more time. Wheel of Gaming, what are you smoking? It's time for you to stop your joking. Oh, come on! Is this thing broken?
Wow, that was
I
funny.
see the problem here. Just a slight misalignment issue. Wow, it landed on a Mario theory. Thanks, Wheel of Gaming. But seriously, if you ever want to come out of the closet again, you will never embarrass me like this. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where I'd like to start today's episode off by telling you that with that, it's time to talk about everyone's favorite D-tier Smash fighter, Yoshi. Perhaps the single most inconsistent character in the Mario canon.
Though also the
Mario,
best character.
Always the hero in red. Luigi, always the scaredy cat in green. Toad, always obnoxious. But Yoshi? I mean, he is all over the place. Sometimes he has a saddle. Other times that saddle is actually a shell. Sometimes he can talk. Other times he just says his own name like a reject Pokemon. 3 fingers, 4 fingers, wool fingers. It is everywhere. Heck, can we even be sure his name is Yoshi? Because guess what? In 1995, it was translated as Yossi. Yossi!
What?
I mean, the games tell us that he's meant to be a dinosaur, but is he even that? So today I wanted to answer the question, what the heck is a Yoshi exactly? We're looking at their behavior and their biology to determine exactly what they are. Are they dinosaurs? And if so, what sort of dinosaur are they? And along the way, we may just come up with the solution for how he became the long-tongued, egg-pooping green machine of death that we all know and love. Who knows? Well, the answer to that one is me. I know, and the answer is yeah. We're gonna answer those by the end of this episode, so stay tuned. It's a good one. For the anti-Nintendo viewers out there, all you guys coming from the FNAF and Minecraft fandoms, Yoshi was introduced in Super Mario World back in 1990, and has been in 101 games since that time, ranging from the NES all the way to the most recent Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, which, come to think of it, is kind of a weird piece of history.
Yo, he's
The Olympics
skateboarding?
are pushed back to next year, which means that the only official Olympic Games of 2020 are going to be a competition between 2 fictional game universes. I wonder if they're going to re-release that for next year. Anyway, according to Nintendo official magazine, the inspiration for Yoshi began with a little lizard creature named Tamagon, star of the 1984 game Devil World. You know, that beloved Nintendo franchise where you descend down into H-double hockey sticks and use crosses to defeat the devil wearing his red Speedo. Yep, that green little dinosaur right there carrying the Bible, that is our earliest version of Yoshi. So from that holy beginning of being humanity's savior, Yoshi kinda downgraded. And in his first official appearance in Super Mario World, he basically functioned as little more than a cute mount for swallowing Goombas and being sacrificed mercilessly into lava pits. But he quickly became a fan favorite, earning spin-off titles and even a starting position in the Smash franchise. He's iconic for inhaling just about anything and turning them instantly into an egg, including babies. Yep, he can even eat Baby Mario. Revenge and babies never tasted so sweet. So what exactly is this baby-eating reptilian? Well, in the original Japanese version of Super Mario World, Yoshi writes us a letter in the message box just outside of his house. He signs it Super Dragon Yoshi. Supporting the idea that Yoshi here is a dragon instead of a dinosaur is the fact that there are dragon coins hidden throughout the stages in this game. Coins that, wouldn't you know it, have Yoshi's face on them. That said, those are really the only 2 major instances of Yoshi being considered a dragon. In pretty much every other media item since then, he's considered a dinosaur. In Smash Bros. 64, his trophy reads, quote, Yoshi is the friendly dinosaur. In Melee, again, quote, Yoshis are gentle, fleet-of-foot dinosaurs, end quote. And going back to that original appearance in Super Mario Mario World, both the English and Japanese have the setting of the game as Dinosaur Land, with Yoshi listed as a young dinosaur in the original manuals. It's also worth noting
Why is he called Dragon in the game then?
Games can be simplified into an animal or plant inspiration. For
Makes
instance,
no
all the
sense.
other residents of Dinosaur Land, Reznor, Rex, and Dino Rhino, all of them have clear counterparts in IRL prehistory. Reznor, duh, it's a Triceratops. Though the name of Rex might make you think that this guy is a T-Rex that Miyamoto slapped some wings onto and called it an enemy, the design is actually riffing on the Ceratosaurus. They both have horns on their snouts, walk on two legs, have teeth that hang out of their mouths, and were likely two-toned from their belly to their back. Heck, Rex's height in-game even matches the real-life height of the Ceratosaurus, just slightly over that of a fully grown man. Lastly, the Dino Rhinos are pretty clearly Protoceratops, albeit a little bit larger, with its stocky quadruped body, hornless head, and bird-like little beak. So where does this leave Yoshi then? It doesn't really have any defining traits that clearly harken back to dinosaurs that we know about off the top of our heads, so what is it exactly? Let's start by defining Yoshi's characteristics. Yoshi is so taller than Mario at 175 centimeters, established in an earlier video, with smooth green skin along his back and a white underbelly, red spikes along the spine that lead to his shell, which was originally a saddle, so I'm gonna take that one with a grain of salt. Speaking of eggs, Yoshis are born from a hard shell egg, as shown in its hatching animation in Super Mario World for the SNES. Note the egg cracking and it's chipping away. Its head is very large, especially around the nose. He has a thick, stocky tail, and the species can be found in all sorts of climates throughout the Mushroom Kingdom, from scorching deserts to freezing tundra. And last, but certainly not least, we have Yoshi's long, prehensile tongue that it uses to snatch up Bowser's underlings. So with that arsenal of information, we can quickly and systematically narrow down what Yoshi is using. Drumroll, please.
A dinosaur.
Ooh, that's 2 drum rolls in the same episode. Very special. I should probably get to what I'm about to reveal, which I guarantee is going to be underwhelming. Cladistics! The classification of animals and plants according to the characteristics that they have in common. Come on, guys, that is totally worth a drum roll. You remember cladistics from school, right? Domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, and all that? Well, if you've forgotten it, or you never learned it because no one's learning from any of the online classes that are going on right now, here's the mnemonic device that you won't forget. Drunken kangaroos punch children on family game shows. Or, you know what, there's always the classic, Dear King Philip came over for great sausage. Think you can replace that with the appropriate word, wink wink, nudge nudge. Anyway, what all this is gonna do is let us narrow down what Yoshi is so we can put him alongside the appropriate similar creature. Just to cover our bases, I'm gonna start with the highest level of classification. Yoshi is eukaryotic, meaning that its cells have a membrane-bound nucleus, placing it under the domain of Eukarya. Its kingdom is Animalia, since it's a multicellular animal, and it must be in the phylum Chordata because Yoshi has a backbone. Now, those are 3 super broad classifications, but in those 3 quick steps, we've already eliminated about 97% of all animals on Earth. That really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Philosophy aside and phylogeny back on the table, we now get into the segments of classification that are based on physical traits and characteristics. We established
this is
before
very
that Yoshi is a
interesting.
dinosaur, so that puts him in the class of Sauropsida, the classification where you find reptiles and birds. From here, things start to get a bit dicey, though. There are 2 orders that we can put Yoshi into, Sauriskia or Ornithskia, meaning lizard-hipped or bird-hipped respectively, and as you can imagine, this is based off the structure of the animal's pelvis. Really, the difference boils down to the placement of the pubis. The pubis, not this bone right here, the pubis bone. But how do we possibly check out Yoshi's
YouTube is about a
pubis placement?
snatch.
Well, when it comes time to look at the skeletons of fictional video game creatures, there's only one place to turn to: Super Smash Bros. 64 and Pikachu's shock ability. Oh no. Oh, that's horrific. Yoshi not only doesn't have a pubis, he literally doesn't have a pelvis. He is completely comprised of ribs, apparently. Just a big old walking rib cage. So, okay, maybe Nintendo hasn't really given us an official, accurate read on the state of Yoshi's skeletal system, so we're gonna need to tackle this problem a different way. The order Ornithskia is comprised of the ornithopods, Marginocephalia, and Thyreophora. Now, don't worry if those words mean nothing to you. I'm barely holding their pronunciations together myself. I literally just looked up how to pronounce them all just so I didn't butcher them completely. I'm just gonna simplify them for you. Ornithopods are dinosaurs that primarily walked on 2 legs, ate plants, and have a little beak like the iguanodon or the Dryosaurus.
I think it's that one.
Marginocephalia are pretty much the dinosaurs with funny looking skulls, the bony frills on the back of their head like a triceratops, or that little ring that you see on those ramming guys that always appear in the Jurassic Park movies. Those guys, by the way, are called the Pachycephalosaurus, and they always make me think that they have a bald spot on the top of their head, right?
It literally does!
Forgot to put their toupee on. And lastly, there are the Thyreophorians, which mean shield bearers. These are the guys with body armor, like the Ankylosaurus
Why?
and the Stegosaurus.
It's
And
the
looking
first
across all
one.
three of these categories, Yoshi doesn't fit any of them. He doesn't have a beak or any sort of weird skull extensions outside of that enormous nose of his, and he doesn't have any sort of scaly body armor. So by process of elimination, he's pretty solidly in the Saurischia order, which itself is broken down into two main suborders. Sauropods, the massive long-necked dinosaurs like the Brontosaurus, definitely not Yoshi, and the Theropods, carnivorous bipedal dinosaurs like the T-Rex and the Allosaurus, known for walking fast on their two legs, eating meat, and using grasping clawed fingers. I don't think I need to really discuss this any further. Yoshi's order is Saurischia, and his suborder is Theropoda, hands down. What also helps support this idea is that Nintendo's official name for the Yoshi dinosaur, his scientific name, is T. Yoshisaur Munchakoopas. What does that T stand for? No one really knows. Nintendo's never come out and said it, but I'm gonna say it right here. I think that the T actually stands for Theropod. Theropoda Yoshisaur Munchakoopa. It actually works. It would be his official scientific name. So let's recap here. Kingdom Animalia, Phylum Chordata, Class Sauropsida, Order Saurischia, Suborder Theropoda. We are almost there. Now all we need is his genus and his species. So up until now we've been focused on the little things, right? Yoshi's cells, his hips, his pubis. Now we just need to look at the big picture. Common traits across every Yoshi include that huge honker on his face, the frills down his back that are always red no matter what his skin color, a height roughly the size of an adult man, and boots. So all we really need to identify
That's
Yoshi
his
is to
height?
find an IRL dinosaur in the Theropoda
God.
suborder with red spines, a big nose, a height around 175 centimeters, and a set of permanent footwear. And after scouring the entire encyclopedia of dinosaurs, I think I have it. Yoshi's closest dinosaur relative is none other than... Can I get a drum roll, please? Okay, 3 drum rolls in the same episode? No, I'm just overusing an editing trope for dramatic purposes and also comedic effect. But seriously, this is getting kind of obnoxious, so let me just say it. It's the Monolophosaurus, a medium-sized bipedal carnivore that
Not
lived
even
in
gonna lie, that
western
kinda looks
China
like
during
him.
the Jurassic period. It's known for the single crest on its skull, giving the front of its face a rounder, more bulbous feel, just like our little Yoshi. It's thought that the crest might have intensified its mighty roar. Mighty roar indeed. Height-wise, they're a perfect fit, with the Monolophosaurus standing almost exactly at 1.75 meters in height, which is exactly where Yoshi sits. It was also known to be very communal, hunting in packs, much like we see with the Yoshis living together and building a society together. The area where Monolophosaurus was found also showed signs of ancient water, leading researchers to believe that these dinosaurs lived near the shores of lakes and oceans, which again, look at where Yoshi's
I'm
house
sorry I'm not
is
talking
in
that
Super
much. This is
Mario
so
World,
interesting.
right on the water line. And the fact that they have a whole island of Yoshis in the next game. Just want to be clear here, I'm not saying Yoshi is a Monolophosaurus, but based off all the evidence as it's been presented, it's extremely likely to be a distant relative of the Monolophosaurus. Which brings me
This
to
is
the
so,
biggest problem
like-
in all of this, right? What about the multicolored skin, the long tongue, the whole omnivore thing, and
True.
the egg laying? Well, I think all of this actually has an explanation under the Monolophosaurus angle. Yoshi's island is surrounded by water, right? So let's assume some Monolophosauruses, Monolophosauri, got stranded on that island. And kind of like Darwin's finches, only the Monolophosauruses that had the right adaptations are actually able
excuse
to
me.
survive on that island. And survival means food. So how are those Monolophosauruses gonna find themselves some food? Well, let's look at what's on the menu. As we see in Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's
Excuse me
Island,
again.
there aren't a lot of things to eat on that island. The game is mostly filled with Koopa Troopas, the shells of which can't be swallowed, piranha plants, tap-taps, and lava blogs, which Yoshi can't eat, and Shy Guys, which may or may not be native to the island in the first place. In short, the actual edible meat on the island is relatively sparse, meaning that the Monolophosaurus, a carnivorous dinosaur, would have to start broadening out its eating habits to the local fruit, the local fish. But the Monolophosaurus has small arms. It can't be climbing trees to get the fruits that we see growing on them in Yoshi's Island, like mangoes and bananas, so what can it do? Well, it can either develop a long neck, or, better yet, a long tongue that allows it to get both fruit and the fast-flying goonies and gusties of the island. And then what about fish? Well, there's plenty of cheeps in the ocean, but Monolophisauruses don't really swim. Well, we better start developing smooth skin, which will serve it better in an environment where it needs to move through the water. Notice that Yoshis aren't particularly good at swimming. They can when they need to, but it's not just their natural thing. That is adaptation at its finest. And finally, what about their coloration? Why do they come in so many different colors, like bright reds and vibrant greens, but also faded
This
blues
man's
and
on to
reds?
something!
Again, it's adaptation. Super Mario World 2 shows us just how colorful Yoshi's Island is, with bright red flowers, big green jungle plants, but also massive systems of gray-blue caves and brown mountains. For Yoshis needing food wherever they can get it on this island, they evolved to feature a huge range of colors in order to survive. Remember, they're communal. They're working together in a lot of cases to pool their food together. And thus, we have how a carnivorous, bipedal, big-nosed Monolophosaurus would over generations slowly turn into the neon-colored, omnivorous, long-tongued Yoshisaurus Munchakoopa. Which leads us finally to the biggest question of all, the eggs. How is every Yoshi able to lay eggs? For that, I point you all in the direction of another reptile, the New Mexican whiptail, a species of lizard that is all female and still reproduces. That's right, 0 males. Suck on that, Bechtel test. Through a form of asexual reproduction called parthenogenesis, this lizard is able to double the number of chromosomes in their reproductive cells twice before cell division begins, giving their eggs the right number of chromosomes. I mean, they're certainly not doing it at the rate Yoshis are pooping out eggs, but I don't know, maybe we chalk that one up to the miracles of nature. So could it be that every Yoshi is just a female descendant of a Monolophosaurus? Let's just put it this way. It's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. And remember, the holographic...
Yeah, that was good. There's one more video I want to watch.
Jeez! Well, the whole internet is currently losing its mind over Luigi's warp pipe in Mario Tennis Aces. I'm here to remind you that this isn't the first time Mario games have featured anything, south of the border. Lest we forget this odd geologic structure from Mario Kart Double Dash, right there on the sandy shores of Peach Beach. You'll never power slide under that arch the same way again.
Bow, 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 bow. Wow, bow.
Hello, Internet.
Welcome.
Welcome to Game Theory, the show that everyone erroneously presumes is meant for kids, despite the fact that we talk about murdered children every other episode. But today, we're breaking from tradition and going back, way back to the earliest days of this show, to a time when I had much more questionable taste in episode topics, to a time 6 years ago when I jokingly promised to make up for the boobs episode with a video like this, and yet, here we are, 2018, and a legitimate topic being discussed online is Luigi's short bulge. It's true. If you hadn't heard, in mid-March, Nintendo released promotional images for Mario Tennis Aces, specifically one of Luigi. Immediately, and I mean immediately, the internet noticed that there were some weird shadows hanging around in Luigi's
Why are you even
undercarriage.
looking down
Like,
there?
normally, it's just a whole lot of smooth sailing down there. Was this just awkward rendering with new high-res lighting effects, or was there more to it than meets the eye down there? Who knows? Who cares? It's time to jump to conclusions and immediately start measuring. Tumblr user 428 raced in and using the tennis racket in Luigi's hand as a guide, immediately deduced that Luigi's power shroom measured in at 3.7 inches or 9.4 centimeters in length. And can I just say this again? It is scary how fast the internet turned their attention to the crotch of this sexless video game character. Now, you might be asking yourself, why the heck am I even talking about this? And, well, that's a really good question, actually. It's something I'm left to ask myself literally every single day. But as the internet's pioneer of pixel measurements, whenever someone online starts rattling off the heights, or in this case, lengths, of Nintendo characters, I'm called in like a nerdier version of Snopes.
This guy needs to
If we're looking
stop.
to determine whether Luigi's manhood is more of a shy guy or a Giga Bowser,
Oh
there's
my
a bit of
God!
work that needs to be done here. So in honor of April Fool's Day, while all the other channels are just coming up with some stupid clickbait video or link same prank, I'm gonna do the same thing I always do, overthink and overanalyze, but this time it's on something
says
that's
one more
even dumber
cringe
than
thing.
normal. Coming to an accurate conclusion on Luigi's Little Wiggler. Let's start by looking at the work that 428 did. Now, this may come as a surprise to you, but over the course of the last 214 episodes, I may have made the occasional teeny tiny mistake or slightly silly assumption. Hey, get out of here, Wario! You too, Sonic. I even gave you a longer stride length, so you don't have any reason to complain. But taking chances, making mistakes, and getting messy is all about learning, growing, and recognizing those same pitfalls later in life. And the one thing that I know for certain at this point is that you can't presume that the world of Mario is using standard-sized anything, let alone
True.
standard-sized tennis rackets. And this is exactly where 428's math goes a little off the rails, by assuming Luigi is holding a normal-sized racket. Nope, when you're dealing in the Mushroom Kingdom, there's only one true ruler that we can go by. Mr. Sociopath
Oh, snap.
himself, Mario Jumpman Mario.
Hold on. Fortnite Winterfest drops next week, guys. Let's go. Anyway, back to the video.
You see, as loyal theorists probably know by heart at this point, Mario has a cannon height of 155 centimeters, or just over 5 foot 1 inch. This means that if we can get Mario next to anything in this world, we can measure it
Yawn,
pretty darn
yawn,
accurately.
yawn.
And since we're analyzing a tennis game, what better game to compare the heights of the Mario brothers than Mario Power Tennis? It's a game where we get plenty of shots of Mario alongside his brother, including my all-time favorite Mario moment. And if you think that's bad, I found a Mario moment that tops it. But, more on that one later. Using pixel-precise measurements from a variety of different cutscenes throughout the game, as well as this image of the standard Mario height chart, we can determine that Luigi is, on average, 12% taller than Mario, putting him at a whopping 1.736 meters, or 5 foot 8 inches. Not really that tall. Now, here is where the fun part really begins. Using those updated numbers, we can apply our updated and canon-approved pixel ruler to the PD Piranha and Luigi's pants. By measuring out the length, which is indicated by the shadow on his shorts, it gives us a length of 10.85 centimeters, or 4.3 inches. It's definitely a bit more Mega Mushroom than the internet was leading us to believe, but wait, it doesn't end there. Because we actually have to adjust the way that we're handling Luigi's one-eyed Cobrat. Handling his one-eyed... Oh, ooh, hey, probably could have phrased that one a little bit better. You see, there's a scientific standard for measuring ye old dinglehopper, and it involves beginning the measurements at the pubic bone. The pubic bone is protected by the mons pubis, a layer of skin and adipose tissue, the scientific appropriate word for fat. In general, women have a thicker mon than a man's mon, but none can compare to a Pokemon. Since our measurements are from the outside of Luigi's mons pubis, and in fact from outside his pants as a whole, we gotta factor all those numbers into our calculations. Now, men typically have
This
a half
guy
inch of
needs
this
to stop.
adipose tissue to be added on to whatever you can see on the outside, which gives us a total length of 12.168 centimeters, or over 4.8 inches for Luigi. Oh, and by the way, congratulations to all you fellows out there who know you're gonna try this at home after the episode ends. Don't pretend that you won't. Just be happy that now you know it's scientifically appropriate to add on a half inch to your ruler measurements. Men of the world, rejoice! It's like getting that last bonus star for your pants. But before you go running off with your tape measures, we're not quite done with Luigi yet. The last thing we gotta do is subtract off a total of 3 millimeters from the measurements we just took to account for the thickness of typical gym shorts and whatever underoos Luigi's sporting down there. That leaves our final total at 11.858 centimeters, or 4.66 inches. Ta-da! Mom, are you proud of me? Wait, I hear your rumblings in the comments. You want more? What? We calculated the length of Luigi's little Goomba. I'm scarred enough from staring my childhood heroes in the crotch for the last 3 hours. What else do you want from me? You want to know what? Oh, it's the big ticket you're interested in. When Luigi's flying down on the Rainbow Road of Love, what's going on when he's revving it up to 150 cc's? Jeez, this is a man's private information. I should send you out of this video right now. But since you asked, I was curious too, so of course I did the calculations to see if Luigi would still measure up, or if, when it counts, his manhood just ends up being in another castle. It turns out that there's a massive variation in the length of your pocket rocket when it, in fact, chooses to blast off again. Guys are either showers, out there like a chain chomp for the world to see, or growers, the shy guys of the anatomical Mushroom Kingdom. Now, Luigi could fall into either camp, so we won't be able to pin down an exact number, but we will be able to get the range here. Both growers and showers end up getting bigger in, preparation for the final boss, but for some, that one-up mushroom just makes a bigger difference, so
Yo,
to
I'm gonna
speak. For
crash.
showers, on average, they're putting on an extra 10% in length, which means that at the very, very least, Luigi's achieving 5.13 inches. But lucky Luigi, 79% of men are growers, which means statistically he's likely to get even more star power out of his big moment. Growers gain, on average, 50% length, which, boy howdy, means that Luigi's looking at a total of 6.99. The heck, let's just round it up to 7 total inches, or 17.78 centimeters. Well above average, according to the British Journal of Urology study last year that found that the average length of a man's disco stick is about 5.2 inches. It's no wonder that Daisy sticks around. So there you have it. Add this one to your fan wikis. The official size of Luigi's plunger goes from a floppy 4.6 to a firm 5.1 on the low end, 7 on the high. Now, I know those numbers might seem a bit flaccid, but throw me a bone here. Calculating this was a hard one. But call me Viagra because I am still going strong. Because there's one final question I'm sure you all have on your minds. How does Mario compare? Unfortunately, the promo art for Mario Tennis Aces doesn't have as many suspicious colors in Mario's pants, meaning we can't go through the exact same level of calculations here. Fortunately for us, though, we wouldn't need to anyway, because Mario hasn't been shy.
Whoa!
And I'm not talking about some questionable DeviantArt pages of the Rule 34 website. I'm talking in an official Nintendo release.
What?
You don't believe me? Then feast your eyes on the official Nintendo manga simply titled Super Mario, but known amongst fans as KC Mario, published way
Never heard
back
of
in
this.
1989. Volume 1 covers Part 1 of the Super Mario Land saga, with Mario fighting off the villains of Sarasa Land led by the
Super
evil
Mario
alien
Land's a good
Tonga.
game.
On page
Shortest
52,
Mario
we
game,
see
actually.
Mario get bitten by a fishbone, only to get sent out of his overalls, and then turning the page, there he is, page 53, waving his pants in the air like he just don't care. And in the process, we confirm two things.
Yo,
One,
I'm gonna have
that
to blur
Mario
that out.
apparently isn't just a plumber, he's going full commando. And two, that Mario doesn't got himself a lovely bunch of coconuts. In fact, Mario's big toe is bigger than his dangling hammer bro. I ran the numbers because of course I did, and Mario's little cannoli clocks in at around 2.5 inches, 6.3 centimeters, and to be quite honest with you, that is me being extremely generous with those numbers. And maybe,
Please stop.
just maybe, this stupid episode by some miracle turned out to
Please
explain a
stop.
lot more than I initially anticipated about this franchise.
Please
With the size
stop.
difference, it's no wonder Mario is aggressive, mean, and dismissive of his brother. He's jealous. Not only does Luigi have the superior
Please
jump,
stop.
he's also apparently got the superior lump. It may also explain Mario's hero complex. He may not be feeling too super in the sheets, so
I'm
he
done.
resorts to being super on the streets.
I'm done.
And who knows, it may even explain
No, I'm done.
his
No,
continued
no, no.
avoidance of her poorly
No.
proportioned plumber. A former theory of mine did
Pa-
guess that she winds up with Luigi in the end anyway.
Pause the video. Matt Pat, you're not gonna ruin my childhood for me. So I'm gonna end it here. I'm not finishing this video. My God!
So there you have it. Luigi, the super powerful half-a-billionaire who winds up with a girl and has an enormous... Man, looking back at all my theories
done.
on him, Luigi really
I'm done.
does
You just
come out
insulted Yoshi. Matt Pat, get out!